You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Sorry, when you're the audio engineer, and everything else, where you're doing everything, you have multiple hats on. So, but we're gonna make it through because we are now becoming, somebody else would say talent on loan from God. I could say I have talent on loan from Jay Allen and everybody else that's out there. So we had a new listener send us over a article today. And I did not want to cover this article at all. I really didn't. No. Well, Jim, you should really cover this, talk about it, what are your thoughts on it and everything. But the reason why is not that I shy away from stories, especially when I have something to say. I shy away from jobs often that I know the people involved with it. But this one was... Now, this brought up a lot of old memories and old things that go on out there in the safety field. Now, we forget about that. No, so we're safety people. Often we're the only ones, and I would take advantage, we have to stay in our lane, but a lot of times we come down with examples, we come down with stuff that's out of our lane. Sometimes way out of our lane, sometimes not so much. So... when I was at NJIT in graduate school, I had studied how companies misreport or how agencies misreport on environmental issues. And what I came down to was this. The stories are often written before the interview. Again, what are we looking at here? We put together a show 2 or 3 times a week. Here, we write it, we produce it, we record it, we edit it, and we post it. Right? And we do a lot more on that. And we come across we're multi-skilled people here. And we're on jobs, and we think about, well, how, and we all do this on our network here. How does this apply to what previously happened, and why the lessons we learned here, how come we're not applying them here, and things of that nature. Now, what I want you to do is remember this. When you go around criticizing people, especially that you might know, you run the risk of the next time they see you, they're gonna give you a ration of Uvno. And that's not something that you want to go through. So you don't want to sort of vicious cycle. So I'm going to say, I know some of the investigators here. I know I've worked with some of the companies on this job. I know them. I'm actually surprised that something like this would happen here. So this is from the Gothamist from last week. Story by Ramsey Khalife, published on October 23rd. This is Gothamist.com. Worker falls to death at a job site for Gateway Tunnel, New York City's largest infrastructure project. So what they're doing is that they are digging a tunnel from Manhattan to New Jersey here. And a construction worker died Thursday morning, and this is last Thursday, after falling down a massive hole at a job site in Manhattan's West Side, where a new set of Hudson River tunnels are being built according to the agency overseeing the project. FDNY Battalion Chief Anthony Romano said that the worker wasn't breathing and had no pulse when he was found at the bottom of a pit at Hudson Yards. Crews performed CPR, then hoisted the worker up with a Stokes basket, a type of stretcher. The construction worker was working approximately 50 foot up on the northern wall. Said Romano, it was a foundation wall that was poured yesterday. We don't know how or why he fell. The man worked for a certain company, according to officials from the Gateway Development Commission, which is managing the work. Officials said all work was halted at a job site while the man's death is under investigation. The work site includes a hole excavated beneath 11th Avenue where crews are digging out the first new train tunnels beneath the Hudson River in more than a century. That's into New Jersey. The $16.1 billion job is the largest public work project in here, and basically people had well, Jim, why are you on there? You could retire on the job because it's New York City. That's why. Remember, New York City has New York City has a couple of laws in place that make it very risky for safety people to work in them. And you're going to say, well, Jim, what do you mean? What do you mean? I tell you what, makes it very risky. Now, going on. Again, I had this pre-recorded tonight, but you know what? I'm going to be on the air. The recording did not go through well. So what's going on here with this? What you need to do is prep your workers for when things go bad. One of the articles here that I was sharing, that I'm going to look, I closed that. I shouldn't have done that. All right. Again, and again, I'm Googling this here. Not the first time that this has happened. So there was one last Thursday, right? There was one in 2020, right? And here we have another article on the Gothamist written by the same author. A construction worker fell to his death at a sprawling Manhattan job site, put in excessive hours in recent weeks, while managers sped up to catch on delays to the project's schedule, according to the man's best friend and co-worker. And it goes on and on with this, talking about the corporate culture to get things done, and some, and it's a whole long thing here. So let's talk about this. We have you have a disaster, catastrophic incident, and you have a worker out there talking about it. Now, this is apparently a non-union company based on what I'm reading here with this, and now based on what I'm reading here with this here, so you could manage this here a little bit better. And with a union company, I don't think you're going to be able to manage this as easily. Non-disclosure agreements, number one. So you have everybody working there doing non-disclosure agreements that that might be one way around it. But I prefer to talk about what has happened on other jobs I've been on where people have gone out and blah blah about the job, blah blah to reporters. So there's a lot of reasons why you don't do that, and everything is scripted. So you get, especially if it's a publicly traded company, what do you have? You have a situation where you have a stock price. You're adding moral hazard to who wants to work for a company that had a fatality sort of thing, and you're adding moral hazard, and you're impacting the company's bottom line on this, and it may not even be true what you're saying. So if you're a company and you're in this place, you're in the safety industry, there's 4 things that you have, and we had Jody Fisher from the PR podcast talk about the 4 things that you want to talk about before you have this. Let me check the audio here because we haven't had audio issues here in months. And then today we have audio issues here. Let me check the audio. So what are the 4 things that we talk about? Number 1, this is what we know. Number 2, this is what we don't know. Number 3, this is what we're doing to find out. And when I went into the interview and the conversation with Jody, he said, well, you want to add the number 4, this is who I am. Of course, you're a PR person. Of course you're going to talk about who I am. So if you look at the first story here, and this is actually, I'm going to do a shout out to FDNY Battalion Chief Anthony Romano. Let's see how he does on this. The worker wasn't breathing and had no pulse when he was found at the bottom of the pit at Hudson Yards. Okay, this is what happened. Crews performed CPR, then hoisted the worker with a Stokes basket. Okay, so that's what we know. The construction worker, again, he didn't release the name because of next of kin. Probably, I'm speculating, but I don't think I'm speculating too much. The construction worker was working approximately 50 foot up on the northern wall, said Romano. It was a foundation wall that was poured yesterday, so this adds a little bit of context. We don't know why he fell. Great. Right, so this is what we know. This is what we don't know. Right? And we're going to go on down here. The man worked for a company, according to officials from the Gateway Development Commission, which was managing the work. Officials said all work was halted at the job site, so this is what they're doing, right? While the man's death is under investigation. Okay, it's under investigation. All right, so this is what we know. This is what we don't know. We're having an investigation to find out. And they mentioned Battalion Chief Romano. That's who they got it from. Really good. Now you look at the second article here. It gives the guy more context. Well, we were working long hours. This is from one of the co-workers. I came here to work. I'm not coming here for vacation. I'm not a tourist, according to the friend of the dead man. Right? Sanchez. Rhoda says Sanchez was highly skilled in cement work, carpentry, rebar work, and as an electrician. This would indicate he's most likely Hold on, everybody. We're going to commercial break right now. Hang on. We'll see where this goes. Hang on with this. Kosher Recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
In the haunted house at night, watch your step, don't slip, hold tight. Cords and clutter on the floor, trip once and you'll scream for more. Boo-hoo hazards, don't be blind. Wear your gear and you'll be fine. Spooky sounds and PPE, that's the way to safety.
We are back here. Sorry about that. Call from home. So, that was Jessica, for those who want to. So here, now, let's talk about the second one. Goes in and adds some more context into the situation, but the thing is this. Here's the question. And I'm sure the person is in warning, number one, and he's willing to say anything here with this. All right? So, this is my question here with this. And the guy gave pictures of people at work and everything else. Some people are saying these are not of the victim. Blah, 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 blah. Overtime is dangerous. This statement he made was the statement that he made. Now adds some context possibly with this. So what's my point? Why is this guy saying anything? Right? Everybody involved here in this investigation so far has not said anything on what's going on exactly. And that is an important thing to talk about with your work crew. So again, you have to have things scripted ahead of time. You have to have qualified people speaking. Sometimes you don't have qualified people speaking. I've done that before also, where I had to handle something. It was like, Jimmy, read this statement and don't say anything, because I did not know all the context and everything going on out there. So I was given a statement to read. Hey, blah, 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 blah. This is it. But again, I was on a project in New York City. Again, it was on Staten Island. There was a major accident, a very, I don't want to say famous, but a very well-known accident in New York at an oil terminal where a barge blew up. And it happened in the late afternoon. It happened, there was a fire. People were missing, or I should say more accurately, unaccounted for. With this stuff, because I tell you what, if something started blowing up, I'm not going to take the time to sign out. I'm getting the hell out of there, right? If it's that big of an emergency. And he ended up, there was an issue. So what ended up happening was there was a supervisor on site that never met a microphone, a camera, or a young reporter he didn't like. Slightly misogynist, but that's what the reality of the situation is. And he goes, and she shoves the microphone in his face and says, oh, well, what's going on over there? And he's not authorized to speak at all. And he says, well, we got this situation going on. We got this situation going on. There's unaccounted for people there. Can you have? Oh yeah, they're pulling bodies out. That's what the rumor was on there. They weren't pulling bodies out of the water. Oh, and yeah, and there's debris all over the place. So we're staging over here in Seawarren, New Jersey, and it goes on and on and on and on. Made the 11 o'clock news. In all fairness, the reporter did a pretty good job. This is what the guy said, right? And he ended up saying, well, Jimmy, blah, blah, blah. Don't don't, hey, I said, hey, don't want to do that. I'll talk to whoever I want, blah, 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 blah. He ended up, and then what happened? 11 o'clock news shows up. They get a phone call at like 11:45 this after it aired. By the way, no, the owner of the company gets a phone call. Pick up your stuff and leave. You were not authorized to talk on our behalf. There was another situation at an oil terminal in northern New Jersey, not too far away from there, an oil refinery, I should say, where they had a situation that happened on the job. Somebody went to a website and wrote down everything that was going on the job. This happened, and that happened, and this happened, and that happened, blah, blah, blah. And he had a history of putting things on, and it impacted the stock price for the company. What do you think happened? He got a nice visit from the SEC. One of my listeners out there, who's a regular listener, and I worked on a project in California. It was a worker fatality. We were there on the investigation crew. And we were told, do not talk to anybody about this job. Had NDAs signed. So we go down, and it's a Halloween. I believe it was Halloween, if memory serves me right. We get together, all the, we're on the road, investigation crew. So we're not working that, was like a similar situation as this year. October 31st, right? Next day we weren't working, so we were living it up, right? Over there. And we said, okay, we're going to go meet at the hotel restaurant, which was a very good restaurant, by the way, phenomenal restaurant for a 3-star hotel. But they also had like a dance club there, and we go down there, and yeah. People at Safety FM saw me karaoke, so, it's, don't be surprised that I can dance. But anyway, we're down there, and I said, you know what, I've been out working all day in the sun. I am hot. I'm in level C and modified level D. I'm hot, and I'm smelly, and I'm sweaty. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go, and I'm going to take a shower. Oh, Jim, you're going to be late to the... No, I'm going to take a shower. I'll get dressed. I'll be there. I will be there, but guess what? And one of my coworkers, she said, yeah, we're going to do the same. I'm going to do this. She said, we're all full, right? Let's go. And so, by the way, we're taking showers together, so don't get the right idea. The wrong idea, I should say, the right idea. Freudian slip. So... we go up and we, get dressed, so we get blah, blah, blah. And we go down into the, dirty minds. I got a comment coming across. And, people have dirty minds. But anyway, we go down there, and lo and behold, who do you see? You have 2 sets of people. The place is packed. We know it was going to be that, but this was really packed. And we had you had very young, professional females all through there. And this was like and we have cleanup workers here. This is like, and they're dirty, they're smelly, they haven't shaved in 3 days. And this was like, they're gruesome out there. They're out there all day. And they went here and they started living it up. And these women, young women, 22, 23, 24 years old, are all buying them drinks. And I'm down at the bar, and I'm getting things going. We're, moving and grooving. And someone offers to buy me a drink. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's California. People buy you drinks all the time. So, and who do you know? Okay, well, and I was single at the time. What are you doing here? Oh, we're working here. I'm from New Jersey. I learned that my lesson. I'm from New Jersey, always say. Oh, okay, you're from what do you do? Oh, we're working, on that big place that had the accident up there. Oh, yeah, I read about that. And then she started asking questions, very specific questions. And I said, okay, nice talking to you. And I gather everybody together. I said, these are all working for an investigator town. Some of their investigators, they're pumping us for information. Don't talk to them. The guy said, really? I said, yeah, you're all going to get your butts fired here. Don't talk to them. All right? Oh, okay. Well, then I look over, and the women that were on the project, they had some people out there, and I'll say, and you're all going to laugh. They're like Jerry Clooney types, right? They're out there, and and I said, hey, come over. You know that these guys are like, okay, they may be, I don't know, maybe that's maybe a legitimate thing. However, I told our guys to stop talking to these women because they're buying them drinks, right? They said they're buying them drinks. These are like right out of college, and these guys are like 40 years old. All of them married, except for me. And, I said, yeah, they're all buying them drinks. So be careful. I don't know who this guy is. Be careful. And sure enough, he did the same thing, and then 20 minutes later, they were all gone, because we weren't saying anything. So that's how they get into and infiltrate you. So this is why you have to have this stuff scripted. You have to be prepared ahead of time. So as part of our 40-hour course, 40-hour HAZWOPER, and also our 8-hour refreshers, when I'm dealing with managers, supervisors, and even with the site-specific training I give for my clients and the companies I work with, guess what? It's always in there. Again, well, you go in there and, this is what the script is, NDA, and the whole 9 yards, and be prepared to say something. And what are those 4 things? This is what we know. This is what we don't know. This is what we're doing to find out. And this is my name. Just like this chief, there's a battalion chief, and I'll do a shout out for him, Anthony Romano. Very, very good, very, very good information here in this. This was written last week. Some other information came to light since then. I'm not sure I'm allowed to discuss it because I heard it in the background. And what's the other thing? So now there is a fatality. What do you have to do as an employer if there is a fatality? Yes, let's say, okay, you called 911, you went or it could be catastrophic incident. You call 911, you have the scene stabilized. Within 8 hours, you, not the police, not the EMTs, not the hospital. Within 8 hours, you have to make a call to 1-800-321-OSHA. They are open during the shutdown to report on a workplace fatality. That's number 1. All right? You got to report it because they're going to be out there, if not that day, first thing in the morning the next day, doing an investigation. Usually, I have not had to wait more than 72 hours for them to show up on site where there was a catastrophic incident or a fatality. So some of the other information I've spoken to other investigators, and that's what they have told me, about 72 hours. So what do? You get somebody else there, also you and a coworker. You sit there and, I don't know, do your own investigation, try to find out what happened, if that's part of your job. Or maybe your job is to wait for OSHA to show up. And you go there and you hang out until OSHA shows up, and they'll be there. You get your ducks in a row, get your OSHA 300 and 300As, get your safety plans out, get any training records out, because they're going to be asking for them. Get some photos and everything else ready to go. Take and do your own investigation while you're there. Maybe do some safety stand down, especially with fatality. You head up some kind of a training class out there. You might have grief counselors. You may have a lot of things. On one of the projects that I was on, they actually brought out some clergy to bless the site because it was a scene of a tragedy, to try to bless the site, to quote unquote maybe cleanse the site with that and give people an opportunity to mourn. You have a plan in place to notify the family or next of kin on what happened. You don't release the person's name, like the here with the fire chief, the battalion chief. You do all this stuff. What's the idea? You have to go out there and plan the crap out of everything. You have to be able to communicate with people. You have to realize that maybe workers, other people are going to be pumping your workers for information. Jim, you're paranoid. You're paranoid. Yeah, well, guess what? This is why it pays to have an experienced person on site, on your payroll, who you could call. Because if you're going to do this on the fly, you're going to have a problem. The other thing is this. I don't know. Let's say that you're a foreman and you start making these statements. And you're in a place like New York. I don't know if this gentleman here taught the Gothamist what his role is, whether he's a foreman, supervisor, or just a regular worker. Seems like a regular worker, but he might be a person in charge of something, a PIC. Remember, non-union company. And you got to go out, and so you're in New York, and you have to know all the liabilities. So in New York, again, I'm not an attorney. Don't play one on the radio. Don't play one on TV. Not playing one on the internet. You are in New York. You have a thing called Carlos's Law. And you also have a New York scaffold law, which I imagine, I wasn't there, but based on how my experience, he might have been on something that was in effect a scaffolding of some sort here. All right, with this. Now you are dealing with not only civil liability, meaning moolah, money. Now you are also potentially dealing with a criminal liability here with this situation. Well, Jim, what do you mean criminal liability? In New York, if you are a competent person or a supervisor and someone falls to your death, you're under criminal investigation, and damn it, you better make sure your I's are crossed and your T's are dotted, if you know what I mean. Let's see who's paying attention with that. So now, you're a competent person on these jobs in New York City. What is your responsibility as a competent person? First of all, if you're a safety professional, are you the competent person? So what do you do? What's Jim's rule? What's Jim's rule? Every time I go onto a project, I don't care if I'm a direct hire or if I am a consultant, it's going to be either in the contract or an email the first day of work. What's my scope of work? What am I responsible for? Right? And now we'll start number one. Do I have the authority to hire? Do I have the authority to fire? Do I have the authority to discipline? Do I have the authority to manage? Why do we do that? Why does Jimmy do that? And now it's catching on because I'm hearing from some of my colleagues. Jimmy, I hired this guy, and right off the bat, he's asking me these questions, and that's a freaking yeah. They said they heard it from a guy wearing a baseball uniform on there, right, playing ball, the safety ball, right, on safety work. What the hell are you saying on that show? And I said, well, first of all, you should be listening so you know what the hell I'm saying on the show. Number one. Number two, what? That makes you uncomfortable that now you're a supervisor and you're responsible? You can't pawn it off to a lowly safety person with no authority on the job? Does that upset you? Does that make you uncomfortable? Makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And again, last project I was on, not the current project. Hey, Jimmy, we're having this issue here. We're blah, 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 blah. We're doing that. And that was from the government entity that was managing. And what do you think I said? I said, you know what? I'll tell the person about it. I'll tell the company about it. Well, aren't you going to throw them off? No, I'm not going to throw off anybody. because I don't have the authority to hire, I don't have the authority to fire, I don't have the authority to discipline, and I don't have the authority to manage, and I have the authority to reward anything. So therefore, somebody from the company has to go and do this. How about you're the competent person on this job? Apparently one of the speculative things out here, or the speculation, is that there was a problem with the equipment. Okay, you're the competent person. Is that equipment appropriate for the job? Is it inspected? Does it meet the requirements of the manufacturer of that equipment? Are all the labels ripped off the equipment so you don't have any idea where the hell it came from, when it was manufactured, or anything else? Do you have an inspection program? Are all of these people trained on how to use that equipment? Or are they giving you the Metro New York, the Metro New York salute? You know the Metro New York salute. No, I'm covering it up. And also, the old, you tell someone to do something, and what do? Hey, why don't you put on that harness, right? Well, why don't, you is what you get. Oh, yeah. All of this goes into that. This is a lot of planning. Not only is this about communication, this is also about planning. How do you manage things? Or are you going to do what they're doing, what the Republican Party and voters in New York City are doing now? They're in a scramble because they don't want Mamdani as a mayor. Well, maybe if you were doing this, what you were supposed to for the last 40 freaking years, this wouldn't have happened. Now, with this, I can tell you right now, the competent person and people in charge are sweating things out here. And the oversight people, they'd be all lawyered up. Now, this is the other thing. Right? And so now you have a fatality on the job. The police show up. There has to be an investigation. In some areas of the country, the sheriff will show up. In some areas of the country, both will show up, including OSHA. If you are a supervisor or above, that gets managed different than if you are below supervisor. And by supervisor, I mean foreman or above also. So if you think that union is going to stand behind you and I'm a union member, I can say whatever I want, that ain't the way it is. Because you're a foreman as far as OSHA and the law is concerned, unless it says otherwise, no OSHA. As long as you're the foreman or above, you're considered management. Watch what you say. Remember, we did a program here about a year and a half ago. What was it on? Right, I should revisit all of these. You have what are called rights under the U.S. Constitution. Miranda rights, the 5th and 6th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. You have a right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney. So if you have an OSHA person show up, what are you supposed to do? And I'm not teaching, by the way. There's going to be people, I get you're teaching people how to circumvent OSHA regulation and investigation. No, I'm not. What I'm telling you is you have to assert your rights. Just because OSHA is there does not mean that you lose all your civil rights. You go out there and you say, hello, Mr. OSHA compliance officer, welcome to our job. Can I get you anything to drink, sir or ma'am? Oh, well, okay, well, let's go into this conference room. And in that conference room, God willing, you have it sanitized, meaning all the paperwork is out of there. All of the plans are out of there because that is all fair game. And you sit the person down and you say, well, what can I do to help you? How can I help you in your investigation? Well, we're going to need this, we're going to need that, and certain documents, I'm not going to go into big detail, have to be produced within 4 hours. Look at your OSHA 300 log, number one, and some other records have to be, right? What I would do is, and they do have labor law attorneys out there, you have an attorney on call. with that. And, okay, well, bring out your attorney with that. And, again, you have the right to an attorney. Why? Because of Carlos's law and some of the other stuff out there, if you're a person in charge, do you want to start saying, oh, yeah, I told him this and that and the other thing? Oh, what's the company policy? The company policy is this, and it's not the company policy. And it all just gets all discombobulated out there. Again, lying to an OSHA inspector is like lying to law enforcement. You don't want to do it. You can get into big issues with that. Police are doing the investigation. Again, be very careful what you're saying. You have 5th and 6th Amendment rights. No, officer, this is what happened here. The person died here. We're doing an internal investigation as to what happened here. And no, be very careful what you say. During our accident investigation class that we do, we go through a book called I Know You Are Lying. And it's about what's called statement analysis that's been developed over the years. And it is one of the books that is read by interviewers. And on how to evaluate people, it's read by people like us on what not to say or how to say it. One of the things is people use words inappropriately, or they give too much information, or they're trying to be helpful and they get into problems. Look at Washington, D.C. You could go down a whole litany of people who got caught in perjury traps. Why? They got involved in investigations and they said the wrong thing. They said things that were not true, like the one example I gave you. Because what do you think happened? You're a person on that job. You're unaccounted for. Maybe you were on vacation in Florida. Maybe you didn't show up to work that day and didn't call your wife. Tell your wife. You were out there with the Gemara, you know? Maybe you're out there. Doing, you know, instead of going to work, you decided to make a trip down to the craft stable in Atlantic City. Actually, sounds like a pretty damn good idea. Maybe I'll go there after the program. I don't know. I'm just joking. All this goes into, that's why you have to control where the information is and where you know, and everything else. I'm going to take a quick break here, and we're going to put on some more music here. So we're going to listen to the Safety Vampire.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
It's coming up out of the ground. The toxic waste is bubbling.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety
To your skin. It's in your blood now. Sea of our 1920. And it moves like you, and it talks like you, and it looks like you, but it's not you.
And we are back here with our Halloween-themed safety music. Or safety-themed Halloween music, however you want to, with that. That was on a hazardous waste site, right? With that, that's what the lady was talking about. It's getting on your skin, and it looks like you, like an invasion of the body snatchers type thing. Well, this accident just happened here. The North Carolina State Highway Patrol is searching for the driver who caused an accident on Wednesday night that killed the power. Well, the story was just released. It happened around 5:20 on Live Oak Church. It happened around 5:20 on Live Oak Church Road near Carmel Drive in Selma. According to the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, repair technicians were working on power lines when the driver of a flatbed truck carrying a water tank disregarded a stop signal from traffic control personnel who were halting traffic due to low-hanging wires. The truck became entangled in one of those wires, causing a technician to fall to the ground. The worker did not survive. With that, State Highway Patrol identified the victim as 29-year-old James P. Rudzicki. Sounds Ukrainian, Rudzicki, right? Charles Dodge said they heard sirens and knew something was wrong. Police and ambulance started showing up. Fire truck showed up, and it continued for multiple hours. Right? So, apparently it was a septic company, right? With that. And they also, apparently a spokesperson released this statement to ABC 11. The incident yesterday in Selma was a tragic loss. We extend our condolences. And here you go. NCSHP released these photos of the truck the person was driving. And it is a small vacuum truck like you would have for honey dippers. With that. I'm sorry, it was a lowboy with a honey dipper truck on the back, right? Like a vac truck, little vac truck. So here's the question. Everything is on video. Why would you leave the scene of an accident? The last motor vehicle accident I was in, I was backing into a parking spot that was tight, and I hit the car, right? This happened like 5 years ago. People said, why didn't you just leave? No one would have gotten you. I said, because everything's on video. Now, my question, I was on a project a number of years ago in Connecticut during COVID where everybody got empowered, right? And these were the people, everybody on the nobody wanted to wear a mask or wash their hands or and it was like a bear to get compliance out of anyone. But anyway, and remember, compliance is overrated here, and the company refused to get rid of people. So, Jim, they're not wearing masks. Okay, do I have the authority to hire, fire, discipline, blah, 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 blah? No. Okay, well then, the person who does have that authority is okay with this. So, perhaps you need to talk to them. Oh, but what ended up happening was we were paving a road on a project, and we had a group of 4 warehouses. The 2 warehouses in the back of the property were not being renovated. The 2 in front of the property were, but to get to the places in the back of the warehouse, you had to go through the parking lot of the places in the front of the warehouse. And needless to say, we had a delivery company, a nationally known delivery company out there, that was one of their warehouses making deliveries. And we had up signs, we had up traffic control devices, we had a flag person out there. And the guy said, I'm in a hurry, I'm making this delivery. And rather than going 150 foot out of his way to go around another driveway that we had open, he blew right through the work area and ran somebody over. Oh yeah, he ran him over. Then he left the scene of the accident. We got his description, we got the license plate number, we even had a picture of the guy. The policeman in that part of Connecticut decided not to press charges on him. Said, in plain view of 12 people, he ran someone over, left the scene of the accident. What's going on? Well, they just never investigated it. They didn't, or anything. Ended up being the guy actually got real badly banged up, but nothing really serious here, right? You're just like glancing blow on here with this. I said, no, what now? How do we manage that? From now on, whenever we had anybody in the doing any work on site that was in the road, in a parking lot, we had everything up like we were supposed to. Right, all what do they call it? NTSB standards. We met 100, and then and we did more. Plus, we put vehicles in front of where we were working. So if someone wanted to go through that, they ended up hitting a vehicle, a construction vehicle. Which is what my recommendation was in the beginning, and I had it documented, but what did they do? Right? I'm holding up. Right? They did that, and then that was, Fleet View. So after, right, and the other thing was, after that, we had a video camera out there at all times, video recording everything on that parking lot. And we actually, then the police did something because we had another incident, and that was the way it is. So that's basically what we do here. We go out there, we manage things, plan ahead of time. Everything, along that. And that's all I really wanted to say tonight on Safety Wars. So we're going to conclude, because anything more than this, I ramble. And we're going to go out with our outro and then our patriotic salute here. And with that, so let me say this. My mother, it was the 2-year anniversary of her death today, and we're remembering that. My brothers and I, and we miss her, but life has gone on, and things do get better. For Safety Wars and Safety FM, this is Jim Posel, and the playing of the Star Spangled Banner is in honor of my mother, who was an immigrant, and she loved this country. So we will be playing that in memory of her today.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
The clock ticks slow, but the heat runs high. It's a graveyard shift under a molten sky. Cursed by sparks, they cling to my sleeve. Like spirits that whisper, they never leave. The iron moans as the hammers weave. A song for the damned who never grieve. You'll never dream. They'll hear the hot work, flames that scream. This ain't no trick, it's a burning dream. Hot work, ghosts in the steam. When the night ignites, you'll hear the tea. You'll hear the tea.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.